Fresh off the back of our third place finish in the Bundesliga in Season 2 of our Youth to Gold save, we enter Season 3 in the Champions League, and I genuinely have no idea what to expect or how far I think we can go in this competition. My brain says we'll get knocked out in the group stage, but realistically, could we win it? No, don't be silly. Obviously, being a Youth to Gold save, the main objective here is to sell old people and buy young people. It's a little bit more complex than that, but if they are over the age of 30 in a transfer window, I will try and sell them. If they are under the age of 20, so if they are a teenager, I'm allowed to buy them. I am not allowed to buy anybody who is 20 or older. And it means already, before we've even clicked continue for this season, we have sold a player, Vladimir Anton, the 30-year-old Uzbek. He should have technically, I believe, been sold last season, but we couldn't sell him. He went out on loan instead to Leeds and has made that deal permanent for £24 million or £23.5 million. So we've done quite well. No other business has taken place as of yet. Financially, we are in a very, very good situation because basically Season 1 and 2, and now 3, we've sold players for huge, huge sums of money, and we've not really been able to spend it. I mean, we have been able to spend that money back, but I don't want to spend £80 million on a 19-year-old because I think they might get good at football. That will almost certainly change. Because this is a Youth to Gold save, obviously we do need to sell players who are 30 or older. We have got one player who we do need to get rid of, and that is Atakan Karazor. He is a 30-year-old Turkish international. He's very good. I wouldn't want to sell him if we were playing this properly. I say properly normally, but we do need to sell him if we are following the rules. He is wanted, and he is wanted by Sheffield United and Wolves. I will loan him if we need to, but I will make sure that there is some form of permanent transfer taking place in there, although he is out of contract at the end of the season. So maybe there wouldn't be a need for a permanent transfer if we do that. We also have Chris Furich, who technically isn't 30 yet, but he's not too far away, so maybe we will be listening to some offers for you if some come in. Also, Dan Axel Zagadou, he does have some interest from Southampton. He is only 28, so he's technically got 2 seasons to go, but I might consider selling him as well, which could be a big risk because we don't have a huge amount of really good footballers. He is probably one of the better ones. Yeah, he is our 6th best player. Karazor's our 5th best player, technically going on star rating. So we might be in a bit of a sticky situation this season. So then over the summer, we have managed to move on £52 million worth of footballers. That does include the, what's his Anton deal, the Uzbek midfielder who's gone to Leeds United. But Karazor has also left the club. He has moved over to Al Feta in Saudi Arabia for £14.5 million, possibly going up to £18 million. That's a very good deal, I think. They got a good player for a decent fee there. Noah Meyer has also left the club and he has moved over to Frankfurt. I believe we brought him in. We did bring him in for £3.8 million, and I was being pestered. So badly pestered by about 15 different clubs in the Bundesliga to sign him, and I went, fine, take him. So we bought him for 3.8, we sold him for 5.75, and there's a 50% sell-on in there. So, you know what? If you turn into a good footballer and you get sold, we're getting a bunch of money from that as well. Similarly-ish is Oliver Lukic. We did sign him at the start of the save, but we have moved him on to Dynamo. He basically just wasn't ever really going to make it for us. Played 16 matches in total. 14 of those 16 were off the bench. He's moved over to Dynamo for 3.3, possibly going to 4.1. So we have made a loss. Unless we get the 4.1, then we've made a profit. Not that we really care about making a profit because we have got so much money in the bank. Jovan Milosevic, that's his name. He has moved over to Borussia Mönchengladbach on a permanent deal for £2.6 million, possibly going a little bit higher. We were just never playing him. Literally every season we were loaning him out. He did get a few games in our first season by the looks of it, but most of them seem to be coming off the bench, so he wasn't particularly useful for us. I'm okay with a bit of cash there. And lastly, Andre Volk has moved over to Wolfsburg. He's gone for not a lot of money, £275,000. Much like the other guy, Noah Meyer, everyone wanted to sign him. And I was like, I'm not massively convinced he's going to be good. He was only 3-star potential ability, I believe. So I went, you know what, off you go, mate. We have spent £111 million, however. I might have got a bit carried away with the amount of money in our transfer budget and our bank account, so I've decided to spend a lot of it. We have brought in a lot of players as well. First of all, Yasin Khan, a Pakistani 18-year-old signed from Reading. I did bring him in because he's from Pakistan, okay? There's not a huge amount of footballers who are from Pakistan, but he does have 4.5-star potential, and I kind of want him to be world-class, okay? I'm not going to lie to you, I want him to be world-class. I don't think it's going to happen. He has come in and he has gone out on loan to Regensburg or Regensburg. For £3.5 million, we have signed Elias Moreira, a 19-year-old Ecuadorian international central defender, signed from Palmeiras in Brazil. He's cost a bit of money for what he is, but I'm kind of hoping a few years down the line, Moreira might be a very, very good player for us. He's 6'7". He's an absolute unit. He just can't header. Sticking with Brazil, this time Roberto is a 19-year-old Brazilian left-back, under 23 international. He's cost £6.25 million. I think he's good. I think he's actually good enough now. I was trying to buy players to basically look at players who are going to be possibly leaving in the future, but also we struggle getting defenders. Midfielders and strikers and wingers and things like that are really easy to get, but really good, cheap, I'll say cheap, really good young defenders, left-backs, right-backs, central defenders, are difficult to come by. Roberto might turn into a good footballer. He might be an awful one. He does have 4.5-star potential, which kind of fills me with a little bit of hope. For £7 million, we've signed English striker Saxon Oxbro from Toulouse. Have I signed him because he's called Saxon Oxbro? Yes, I have. But also, I think there's something there. Moving up into double figures now, we have £11 million spent on Mikel Perez, an 18-year-old Spanish right-back signed from Real Sociedad, and I think he walks straight into the starting 11, which is good because I think I mentioned before that Brandon Williams is starting to get older. I might not have mentioned it, but Brandon Williams is, I think, our fourth oldest player in the squad at 26. We do need to look at replacing him within the next 4 seasons. Perez might replace him immediately. And then we move into the rounds of utterly ridiculous, and by ridiculous I mean really high transfer fees, but probably not too ridiculous. They just feel really high for me. Marcelino Varela is a 19-year-old Spanish-Portuguese defensive midfielder. I feel like I'm now just starting a war, aren't I? Signed from Gil Vicente. He has cost £34.5 million, and he walks straight into the first team. I think I needed to spend big on somebody who's good now, basically to replace the Turkish player that we sold in the summer, and I feel like Varela does that job. And he's also not the only one that does that job. Sebastian Hughes is a 19-year-old English defensive midfielder and attacking midfielder if we need him to be, signed from West Ham, had a loan spell at Charlton, and he has cost, wait for it, £45 million. It's too much money. I'm going to be honest with you. We had money burning a hole in our pockets, and we still do. We've got £50 million worth of transfer budget to spend, and we spent £111 million of it just this transfer window alone. So the money was big. I had a lot of money to spend, and I spent it, okay? Obviously not the only transfer business has taken place. So Fagir has gone out on loan, Slack has gone out on loan, Raul Paula has gone out on loan, Azevedo, Malic, Nicoli. Nicoli needs to get better. He's not awful, but he needs to go out on loan, get some more game time to go into Hertha Berlin. I think it's going to be very good for him. Gonzalez, Mullen, Khan, and Sievers have all gone out on loan as well to Regensburg, and Darmstadt have managed to pick up Amato, along with actually Wahid Fagir. Amato, again, much like Nicoli, needs game time. He needs to get better. I think he's going to get really good. He's just not good right now. Let's talk about Regensburg, or whatever they're called. Yes, they are a new feeder club of ours. Basically, I needed a club in Bundesliga 2 or below that we could play, basically send players to get them better. We do have VfB Stuttgart 2, who should, in theory, be able to play in an actual league, but they don't. So if we drop down to the third of Bundesliga 3, I assume, you can see Borussia Dortmund 2 and Bayern 2 are in there, and Kiel 2. So I can have to assume that we should be able to get into that league. However, because we're not in that league, we don't play any competitive fixtures, and I don't think we can control if we are going to win the league below, if that makes sense. It might be something that we need to try and do, is maybe try and get VfB Stuttgart 2 into this division somehow. I have no idea how. Anyway, the season has kicked off, and it has not started off particularly well for us. We have played 3 matches. We've got 2 defeats. Bayer, a 3-1 defeat, and FC Bayern, a 3-1 defeat. We do have 1 victory to our name against HSV, who find themselves in 16th place, a 3-2 win there. We have played arguably the 2 best, or 2 of the best sides in the league, and lost against them, but it's not a good start to the campaign. Anyway, then let's jump forward to the start of the next transfer window, where I'll probably spend another few £1 million, and let's see how well things have gone. Hopefully we can turn things around. Yeah, I think we've turned things around. We are sat top of the table, 13 wins, 3 defeats. So we've literally lost 1 more match against FC Köln, and then won absolutely everything else. Not massive wins there, no kind of like big 5s or 6-0s, but it looks like a few 2-0s, a few 3-1s as well, so we're scoring a lot of goals. We are top of the table, Bayern in second on 38, Frankfurt in third on 36, Hoffenheim in fourth, Leipzig in fifth. So it's a 5-horse race at the moment. Arguably Dortmund, Mainz and Bayer also kind of still in that fight as well. Still somewhat early doors when it comes to the actual league. Also in the Champions League, we've done really well. We've lost once up against Porto. In fact, we got smashed by Porto 6-1. But luckily for us, we beat Shakhtar, Galatasaray, PSG, RB Salzburg and Partizan. Beating PSG is huge. I'm surprised at how well we're doing in the Champions League. In fact, I'm surprised at how well we are doing. I've also just seen Man City at 28th. They beat Real Madrid. They've drawn with Dortmund and Apoel. Lost against Barcelona, Club Brugge and Leipzig. Anyway, we don't really care too much for that. We're also in the DFB Pokal quarterfinal. It's Borussia Dortmund will be our opponents. Regensburg as well, all the way into the quarterfinal up against Bayern. Speaking of Regensburg, I'm going to recall Perseevers because he's just not playing. But other than that, I think everyone else seems to be getting a lot of game time. So Khan, he's not playing much, is he? Mullen is not really playing much. Gonzalez is not. He's in Regensburg too. He's not even in their first team. I might recall all of them. Anyway, it is a transfer window. Just taking a very quick look at the squad and sorting by age, we have nobody that we need to worry about. Although Furic is wanted by Frankfurt on loan. He's out of contract at the end of next season. We do need to sell him. He is transfer listed. If somebody bids 20 million, we will take it. Dan Axel Zagadou as well, similar situation. He's not 29 yet, so he's also got another year or two to go. But I've transfer listed him because I feel like we need to get rid of him sooner rather than later. It also might mean if Zagadou goes, somebody else like a Morea or an Allsop will get a lot more game time, and then in theory they might get better because right now they're not particularly good, are they? Anyway, transfer window was open, £50 million to spend. Let's see if we're actually going to spend any more. We've got £500,000 wage budget as well. Two bits of business then have taken place leaving the club. Chris Furic has left the club on a loan spell. This isn't a permanent deal, by the way. He's gone out on loan until the end of the season with the hope that Frankfurt basically will take him. There is an option to buy him in there. So Furic might be signing for Frankfurt at the end of the season. If not, we still have another season to sell him. Yes, he is now 30, but I've said this in a few seasons now. Basically, my rule is they are 30 at the start of the season, not midway through the season, because that would just get really awkward to try and kind of manage. Dan Axel Zagadou has also left the club this time. This one was on a permanent deal. Now 28 years old, the Ivorian. No caps. Is he French, isn't he? I was going to say he's French and Ivorian. But yeah, no caps at the moment for either side. Gone for £7.5 million, which is actually more than what we actually wanted for him, I think. I'm kind of happy with it. It's annoying because he's good, but also this opens the door for some better youngsters, or some youngsters to get better, should I say, playing in the first team. Speaking of youngsters to get better playing in the first team, Lucas Inostroza is a 18-year-old Chilean goalkeeper who has signed from Huachipato, might be their name. 5 under-20s caps. He's come in for quite a sizable fee for somebody from Chile, £1.7 million. He's immediately gone out on loan to Regensburg and is playing for their first team, so that's good news. And for £6.25 million, we've brought in Mexican under-23 international from Pachuca, Rodolfo Caballero. He, I think, could be really, really good for us. He doesn't fit the natural kind of winger shape. He's not massively fast, but technically, he's an absolute wizard. He's actually really good attacking-wise, really good vision-wise as well. Maybe that would be a better position to play in the middle, but I just love the fact that we've got an 18-year-old Mexican winger, and I think he's going to be superb. And that has been all of our transfer business. So nearly £120 million has been spent this season. We brought in £61 million as well. We have been knocked off the top of the table. Bayern now sit pretty at the top of the table, but still 15 wins, 2 draws, and 3 defeats to our name. So we've actually just drawn against Bayern and HSV and then a couple more wins. So we've dropped points, but we're still up there. If we finish top 4 again, I'll be very happy with that. Speaking of finishing top 4, we actually finished 5th in the Champions League, meaning we do get ourselves through to the second knockout phase. Beating Juve as well was the extra match there. We are not obviously in this round. When we do get to the round of 16, we'll see who will be playing. I don't know whether it's seeded or anything, but it doesn't really matter. And also in the DFB Pokal, we have got past Borussia Dortmund. Regensburg did lose to Bayern Munich, so it's not going to be Regensburg versus VfB Stuttgart in the final. I kind of fancy our chances, you know. I feel like if Frankfurt and Bayern draw each other, one of those teams get knocked out, we can beat Frankfurt easily. We can beat Osnabrück easily. We can beat Nuremberg easily. Bayern's the one that we don't like. And I feel like that's a thing that lots of people who support German football teams other than Bayern Munich will probably say. So that was the transfer window. I will just take a very quick look at the squad. Obviously, no one's going to be particularly old now. Brandon Williams is now our oldest player at 27, and he is wanted. I might sell Brandon Williams to Southampton. If they come in with a bid in the summer, I might sell Brandon Williams at 27, which is ridiculous. If we sort by age, we've got some 17-year-olds getting... He's played twice off the bench. Caballero's played a few matches. Mikel Perez has played 22 at 19 years old. Even Per Sieverts has come off the bench once. He's played more for us than he did for Regensburg, which is ridiculous. I have just seen that obviously we spent £45 million on Sebastian Hughes. He's not playing every match. He's coming off the bench quite a lot, which is fine, because I think that kind of means that we've got lots of players who can play there. So Di Benedetto is obviously good. Varela obviously is good. Hughes is good. Ulrich, I think he's more of a winger, isn't he? But I'm training him up to be a defensive midfielder, so yeah, he's not played as a DM, playing on that left-hand side. So we've got 3 players who can kind of rotate in those 2 defensive midfield positions, which I'm happy with. Anyway, then, that was the transfer window. Let's jump forward to, I guess, the end of the season, where we have finished 3rd place in the table again for a 2nd season in a row. So last time around, it was 72 points, 3 points less this season. We actually had a terrible run of form towards the end of the season. 9 defeats. We had, I think it was 3, wasn't it, earlier? So 6 defeats in the second half of the season. All of them away from home. Another draw, I believe. The Mainz draw is a new one, and then a bunch of victories as well. So we've done still quite good. I'm happy with what we've done. I think we're the top scoring team in the league by a reasonable distance, actually. 6 more goals over Leipzig. A lot more than 6 over Bayern, who obviously won the league. Defensively, though, we're not amazing. 5th best defensively. We need to be better defensively. I think if we can shore that up, we should be good. My hope of getting some luck in the DFB Pokal almost came true, as we did make it through to the final against Bayern. However, they did manage to beat us 2-0. Musiala with the opening goal. And then midway through the second half, they double their lead, completing the victory. Elise on that right-hand side plays it on the ground. Kolo Muani is there, puts it in the bottom corner past Seaman. It is a 2-0 win for Bayern. But what does that mean for the Champions League? It means we got absolutely battered by Arsenal in the semi-final. It was a 1-1 draw after the first leg, and then as we head to the Emirates, we start by going 1-0 down. Victor Osimhen with the goal after just 8 minutes, and then most of the way through the second half, I believe, Diao collects it for us, but he's put under pressure. Bad pass. Wirtz in the middle. Osimhen can double the lead and double his tally as well. We do manage to pull one back early on in the second half, but obviously at this point it is 3-1 down on aggregate. Bays crosses the ball in. Diao was there, blasts it into the back of the net, making it 3-2 on aggregate. But then into the second half, a little bit further, Havertz on the ground, finds Saka, takes a few touches in the middle to Odegaard, long range effort, past Seaman, makes it 4-2 on aggregate. And then it is completed after 84 minutes. Quinton Timber finds Declan Rice on the left is Smith Rowe. Acres and acres of space. Passes it past the keeper. And that is it in London. We've been knocked out of the Champions League. But the fact that we got to the semi-final was actually quite impressive. We also had Brandon Williams get himself sent off. But we were already 4-1 down at that point. So despite the fact that we don't have a trophy in the cabinet, finishing 3rd in the league, DFB Pokal final, Champions League semi-final, I think that's actually a pretty impressive season as well, considering the players that we've actually sold. We've managed to lose some really good players. I think we've replaced them quite well, particularly the Portuguese midfielder. I can never remember the guy's names. Varela, I think this is a superb signing. He's worth 87 to 125 million pounds now. I nearly didn't do this because that felt like too much money to spend. I'm so glad we did. This one I'm still kind of regretting a little bit, but he's getting there, 103 to 143 million pounds. Looking at the squad then, 5 players breaking double figures. We've got Di Benedetto, we've got Ilenikena, I still can't say his name, can I? Milio. We've also got Arbeloda, has managed to get 16, but top goal scorer is Asane Diao with 27 goals. We're kind of relying a lot on Diao to score the goals for us. I love it. I mean, Arbeloda should be scoring more. He's not getting the goals, is he? 10 in the league. 10 goals in the league, and that's it. Before we finish this season, I just want to point your attention to our youth intake. It has come in. We've got one elite talent, which is Nicholas Nagel, who is a striker and maybe a left winger, although he's 15 finishing and 6'3" and not particularly quick. He's not a winger. He's 100% a striker, but he's got 5-star potential. Somebody to keep an eye on, particularly as his value is £6.8 to £8.8 million. That's always a good thing to know if they're going to be any good, because if their value's really high, they're probably going to be a half-decent footballer. So we've got some players here as well, like Musburger, reasonably high, £2.7 million, maybe not amazing, but yeah, you can see by a fair distance, you've got Nicholas Nagel at the top there, who is probably going to be our best player. So Season 3 in the bag, no trophies, but I'd say a pretty good improvement. In Season 4, we don't need to sell anybody, because nobody is going to be over 30. Wait, that's a lie. We will need to sell one player, but we'll also have probably £100 million worth of transfer budget to spend, and I'm probably going to spend it, aren't I?